Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, Treyarch confirmed some big Cold War content updates are coming next week, Valve made a major change to CSGO, Nvidia issued a critical fix for several driver security flaws, and much more. Call of Duty Cold War's mid-season update is dropping on the 14th. Treyarch confirmed a bunch of new content is coming to the game for both multiplayer and zombies. Multiplayer is getting 2 new maps, Sanatorium for Fireteam and Dropkick for 6v6 modes. The Sanatorium map is very promising as it looks like a more urban coastal map. Rumors and leaks have been suggesting Warzone is getting a map called Ural Mountains with the launch of Season 2. The map seems like it's going to be all of Cold War's Fireteam maps combined. The existing Fireteam maps we've had since launch are both rural. Sanatorium, looking to be a bit more urban, could mean Ural Mountains will have an urban and rural areas instead of just one or the other. Warzone's main map, Verdansk, has a good mix of both, which makes every round feel distinct. The screenshot of Sanatorium also has a monorail track running through it, so maybe the train mechanic from Verdansk will play a role on Ural Mountains. Zombies is getting a new mode with the mid-season update called Cranked. It's a clone of Modern Warfare's Cranked modes in that you have a timer counting down to your death. Killing zombies will restart the timer, so the only way to stay alive is to keep killing zombies. It sounds like a nice change of pace for players that want a more brutal zombies experience. As for Warzone's ongoing balance issues, Raven Software's Twitter account has promised more action soon and is currently taking player suggestions. Based on the replies, it's pretty clear that players want the DMR to have more recoil. There's also calls to unify all the Warzone info under one social media account. Right now, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Raven are all replying to each other's announcements with more info about Warzone updates. It's a confusing mess for players to sift through. Even Treyarch's patch notes for yesterday's Cold War update included a From Raven Software section for the changes made to Warzone recently. Having all of that info relayed by a Warzone Twitter account seems like it makes much more sense. Valve just made a pretty dramatic change to CSGO's ranked matchmaking. Bots will no longer replace players that get disconnected or leave a match. CSGO's matchmaking has utilized bots to fill in players basically, well, forever. They're both a staple of the game's identity and an actual part of the meta. Dead players can take over bots, so having a bot on your team is effectively like getting 2 lives for the price of 1. Players have asked for improved bot logic and controls for a while now, as it's impossible to coordinate any strategy with a bot on your team. Your best bet until now has been to command the bot to stay in spawn, and sometimes the bot will just ignore that command. Removing bots is a bold move, but it makes sense. Having bots replace players encourages toxic behavior. Before the change, the idea that a bot would be more useful than an unskilled player led to players constantly getting kicked from matches for underperforming or simply as a means of griefing. Removing bots makes being down a player more consequential and will hopefully cut down on toxic behavior. The latest driver update for Nvidia GPUs patched 6 major security issues. The most severe one served as a means for taking over control of an affected user's PC. While all of these exploits required local access to the PC, they were still a noteworthy issue. It's recommended all users update to the latest driver immediately. With the RTX 30 series launch, Nvidia's drivers have seen a pretty sharp uptick in bugs. And while the new driver does fix some pretty nasty issues aside from the security flaws, there are several open issues that have been causing problems for many. The big ones are constant stuttering when using Steam VR, crashes in Detroit Become Human, video playback on YouTube stuttering when scrolling, and more. An art director and writer working on Dying Light 2 has left the studio after 22 years. Paul Selinger was a senior employee at Techland, and his departure is a pretty big deal. The developers recently teased new info about the game would be revealed soon. It was delayed early last year, and since then, the devs have been radio silent about progress. Rust's biggest Twitch drop update is live. It adds more servers and wipes player blueprints. While it's a relatively small update, it's having a massive impact on Twitch viewership, which has boosted the game's concurrent player count to 200,000. That's a new record for the game and smashes the prior record of 150,000, which was only set last week. Rust is going to have a major year if the devs can keep pace and add some big content updates to keep players interested. Hi-Rez Studios announced a major update for their 3 active games. Smite, Paladins, and Rogue Company will all be getting new seasonal content updates this year, with particular focus being placed on Rogue Company's future. The game is a hybrid of CSGO and Valorant, but played from third-person perspective. It saw a lot of success during beta, but it's unclear how the success has translated to full release. One thing is clear though, Hi-Rez will be putting out 4 seasons of content for the game this year. Each update will add new agents, maps, and events. Action RPG Path of Exile is getting a new expansion on the 15th. Echoes of Atlas adds 11 new maps, several new boss fights, at least 4 new locations, and a ton of other content. The reveal video for the expansion is 30 minutes long, so there is actually a lot to cover. It sounds like the expansion is focused on boss battles and will feature multiple boss rush fights, where you have to fight progressively more bosses at once. In terms of endgame content, this sounds like a pretty healthy addition to the game. Path of Exile is famously complex and takes much of its inspiration from Diablo. Of all the Diablo-like games out there, Path of Exile is probably the cream of the crop. It's also totally free to play. Steam's latest beta adds new options to the Xbox Elite and Sony DualSense controllers. The rear paddles on the Elite controller can now be rebound. Trigger rumble support has also been added. As for the DualSense controller, users can now disable the LED status light. Before we get to the final story today, I wanted to wish everyone a happy Friday. As wild as gaming news can get, nothing quite compares to what's going on in real life. Stay safe out there. We'll have your weekly gaming news recap out tomorrow afternoon, so be sure to subscribe if you've missed any stories this week. Also, if you're interested in shorter format news content, we're doing LevelCap Shorts on a LevelCap Shorts YouTube channel. There's a link for that in the video description. I'll leave one in the comments. You can also find that short news on Twitter and a few other locations. In our final story today, Epic just acquired a very interesting company. Bink Video's tools have been used in nearly 25,000 games since 1988. If you've played a game, chances are you've seen a cutscene, cinematic, or in-game video tip encoded with Bink's rad game tools. What makes this a big deal is that Epic plans to integrate Bink's tools into the Unreal Engine. And while the engine already supports Bink, the company's engineers are now at Epic's disposal to tailor support. Epic have made several high-profile technology acquisitions in recent years. Some noticeable examples include Easy Anti-Cheat and Quixel, which is the world's most extensive programming asset library. And while these acquisitions might not sound like much, it's virtually Epic rolling all of the best game dev tech under one umbrella. It could have significant consequences for other developers that utilize these tools. Want to use EAC or Bink Video? In the future, that could mean you're stuck using the Unreal Engine or having to pay Epic a certain lump sum. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.